So if you've been actually following along with these videos, I actually commend you, because I'd be bored as so we're going to start off this video with the building of the centerpiece, to me, in my opinion, the deflector dish. So the parts consist of what we're going to be needing is, the housing. You have an optional 3 of them of what you want to put on the ends. I can't remember what they're called off the top of my head or the bottom of my foot, but I'm using these ones. They're the ones that's used for the Refit. The other version, it comes with 2 different choices. You have this one or what they used in the Enterprise A. And you have these little clear RCS thrusters. And just letting you know what I've kind of figured out with these is that on the housing there are these 4 ends. There are 4 of these. That's where they slide in. Other than you have to sand a little clear piece just to make them slide in all the way. The way it's made in here is that this back end is more deeper. The front end is more shallow. But the clear piece itself is, it's pretty much, I wouldn't say flush, but perfect. It's flat. So when you put it in, you're going to have a high spot in the front and a low spot in the back. And looking at the pictures of the studio model, and even in the film itself, it shows it, it shows it level with the housing. So you're going to have to do some sanding manipulation, but also got to be careful because I want to have a light showing through it. I'm not worried about diffusing that either, but I don't want to lose my little detail on it on the front, so that's something I have to think about. And of course, there's the dish itself. In my opinion, my guess is this is the part that's going to be the heaviest mod. One of the things that I'm going to need to do is, I'm pretty sure I'm going to end up diffusing this, just the way it also kind of looks like if you watching the beginning of the motion picture of the the whole beauty shots of it, and you get to the front end and you see this, it looks grayish because it's not lit, but it's diffused. You don't see no bulb. It's just a matter of what type of diffusion I want to use. Mostly I've been just fine grit sanding my clear pieces, but on a flat surface that's easy to do. Well, in this case I have to do it from the backside and it's curved. That's going to be hard to do evenly, and especially on the inner part here. So I'm either thinking about doing a light mist coat of white, but I'm going to have to do some testing, even just clear at first, and just to see how how it looks when it's lit. I'm trying to go for what it looked like in the picture. I don't want it to be a big blue flow lamp either, but also want to make sure you see it. The spokes in there, I'm going to do the boy trick by using thin polystyrene and gluing it on top of the spokes here just to make them stand out. That was actually a pretty good idea. And there is a photo etch ring that goes out over here, so that's needed as well. This one's pretty much simply straightforward. The only lighting it needs, of course, is the dish itself, and for the RCS thrusters. The RCS thrusters, I'm using 0805 yellow SMDs. And the way I'm going to end up doing it is, actually, we'll just kind of start on that now, I guess. My plan is I'm going to drill a hole that's the width of the SMD going beamed straight out, not at an angle. So that's why I got a little bit of a fatter tip on it than what needs to be. But I don't want it to poke all the way through. But at the same time, I don't want like it too much underneath the white plastic, just because I need the light to kind of, you know, fan out a little bit to go out these two little holes. So we'll just start now, and I'll just test fit in and kind of see where I need to put the first hole. This might be tricky just because of it's a round part and I gotta make a hole. I'm gonna do all this prep and any type of pre-gluing parts right now before we do any light blocking and any of that crap, just because, hey, it's at its cleanest. Now let's just make sure, see how this looks. Yeah, pretty much right where I want it. And I'll probably end up diffusing the bottom of the clear ones, so that'll kind of help eliminate a hot spot, because there's 2 vents, 1 LED. So I want to try to make that even as possible. And if you're wondering, why didn't I just test that last one? Well, because after the first one, I kind of know exactly where I need to go. Now, I don't need to put the LED in yet, just yet. I just want to have, you know, this done already, so I can glue the pieces in and I can come back and put the LED in later. Okay. Holes are pre-drilled. So said, I think what I'll want to do is, no, I'll use model glue, that's for sure. First, gotta get model glue ready. Gotta find my little dumb thing. Well, let's put these in right now. And yes, all these have been prepped and cleaned beforehand. A little bit too much glue came out of there. Clean out some of the excess. Mainly because it'll be harder to do it with this much detail, so might as well just get much as I can now. Simple as that. Just too simple. This one's gonna be a little bit of a challenge. Of course, we can't use CA, that's for sure. Like I said, I was thinking about just diffusing that, but then as soon as I put the glue on it, and it'll just kind of work like a clear coat, and it'll make it not diffused anymore. I just thought about that, so that's why you're wondering. In case you're wondering how come I'm not diffusing it, like I said, it just was. So I just thought about it. It's not going to work. That one. Got a little bit too much glue on here, so just right, a little pre-clean. One thing I want to make sure is, because you're dealing with the clear part, you want to make sure you have the actual opening part, because where it has like the two slots for lights, it's so hard. It's kind of hard to tell which side is up, so you gotta kind of feel it just to make sure. Unless you have super good eyes. I'm 95 years old, so my eyes suck. One thing is, I'm glad I'm doing this now just because of these clear little pieces. I don't want them to get lost. I've been having issues with that with kids. And the good thing about this part here is it doesn't really require, like, you know, you need to tape it all down and all that other stuff. There's nothing really structural about it. So that's where we're at with that. So I need to let this glue set up, and then it can deal with, you know, the usual. I'll deal with the usual adhesion promoter, you know, light blocking phase. Got a mask inside the little dumb holes, you know, with the yellow thing. I'm sure there's something in there for that. If not, I have special tape. And getting into, I guess I can show you the sanding of this when we get to it, but of course it has to dry. So that's where we're at with that. See you in a sec. So now the glue is set up. I already went ahead and sanded, you know, made the whole RCS thrusters flush. And come to my surprise, there isn't any mask designed for these little RCS thrusters on here on this orbital dry dock one. I guess what you can do is you can take a, because he pretty much gives you a little bit extra. There are masks for the fine line chiller grills. I guess you can actually take a little bit of that and put that in, but I had a roll, this roll here, it's 1/32. Let me repeat that, 1/32 wide. So it's a very thin tape, and it's actually went in perfect. You see them all the way around. But of course, you know, I had no choice but to do it with one of these at its highest magnification, and just pretty much kind of like doing surgery. This was really insane, just getting these things fit just right and in there. So that's done. So the only thing left really to do is just kind of give this a little tack rag, and then I'm going to through some of the beginning phases of the paint. Well, this is an unusual position for this, but obviously we're going to work on the deflector dish. To recap, what's been done is the back of it, of course, it's adhesion promoted, and which gave it a little bit of diffusion, but of course I ended up just dusting some white over it and kind of cleaned up the center a little bit, and of course cleaned out on the edge over here, because these little open ends, you know, you're supposed to have light to go through it. And I did my paint work already because it'll be easier to do now obviously than when it's installed. Did a silver band here and the light blue band there. And also I already took the photo etch piece, the ring, pre-painted it white, and then I just brushed on some canopy glue with a very fine, almost like an artist brush. Just made little dabs all the way around and set it in. But of course, you know, I had to do it with a light underneath it, because you got to line, you know, these open ends with the open ends that's back here. Well, that's where we're at with this. But now we're going to do a little customization. We're going to be enhancing the spokes here and make it look like an eyeball. So what I use, I cut some little pieces here of some of this styrene strip right here, and what we're going to need is some canopy glue. Maybe I'll just put it right here, I'll just clean it off. So I'm going to make a little puddle. A decent set of tweezers. And basically, you don't lose it like I just did right here. Just take it, find a spoke, slipped. You know, I'm going to do a different one. That one just went, when it slipped, it just made a mess. Good thing I cut extra. No practice run here. I'm just starting as we go. Boy, this is going to be tedious. Come here. You get the smallest little bit of canopy glue, makes you know it grabs your tweezers. So that's one. So we've got like a whole bunch more to go. I'm sure after a couple of tries, I'll get the hang of it. Look, there's two. Make sure I try to make sure they're all lined up as well. So, see if I can salvage that one that I just had. Nah, screw it. So, obviously, see me do two. I'm going to go ahead and do all these other ones, and I'll come back towards the end and we'll have the review of this. Well, here it is. Boy, this was a pain in the ass. Holy crap. Here's some little tips. You know, when you're actually placing them with your tweezers, you're going to actually get even the smallest little bit on a tip or whatever, and it just instantly becomes a magnet with these things, and it'll want to pull away, and it's a little bit of a fight. So as you barely pick it up and set it, even if it's not in place, clean off your tip of your tweezers every time, and then so slightly adjust as needed. Also, I would suggest if you have one of those magnifying visors, use it. I had to on this at maximum magnification because it's really hard to see, just getting it all lined up, everything. But yeah, but I say the most difficult part about this trick is just placing them with the tweezers with any little bit of canopy glue residue. It's just like a magnet to this small little piece when you're strategically trying to put it in. So other than that, I think it looks good. So the next thing to do is to get the RCS thrusters installed into the other part of the dish and get the LED for this dish lit up, and we'll basically almost calling this one a wraps until painted. Got ourselves a little deflector dish going. Already went ahead and did the wiring and the lighting for the RCS thrusters, and for the bicolor LED right here. It's obviously same type of soldering as everything else, same type of CA gluing it down like everything else. The only issue that I have left to do with this thing, of course, is, give it its paint. Everything's all tested and good to go. Obviously, the spokes. I think I wanted to diffuse this a little bit more, but it's already too late to do it from the inside. So what I think I'll do is, on the outside, I'll just spray some more of my matte clear over the dish itself, and it's not going to obviously harm this. I'll probably end up doing that, of course, sometime after I get the strong back paint and all the other paint on here, since I got to use the same paint on it to clear it anyways. So with this, just do a little demo of the wiring. Got to be careful though, there's no resistor on the bicolor LED, so that's something you got to remember. Well, I got to remember when doing this. I have to use my little doohickey. I have to hold this with this. And let's see if I turn this light off over here. It might actually show better on camera. So that's the backside. Kind of hard to see on camera, but I do got light leaks just only on the clear piece itself, even though they did get sprayed black, but it's still not enough. So when I go ahead and paint the RCS thrusters, I just got to paint them black. So now just show off the deflector dish. Of course, it's a little wire, it's a pain in the butt. Middle wire the middle connection on the bicolor LED is the negative, and the ends are the positive. And over here, I have my little wired resistor, so I'll kill this light here. Now the only problem is I can't see anything else. Now I can't even see I'm basically in the dark here. There it is. So I have to basically hold this. There we go. Well, that's the blue one. Let's just start like we see on screen. Come here. So that's the amber. So plus I'll do it to you with the light on just to show you the difference on how the luminosity. Where's the wire? Oh, of course that's not it. I'm trying to do the wrong one. There it is. And that's the blue. So right now, just go ahead and turn the light back on. Kind of hard to see, but yeah, if I just kill the power, then you'll notice.
and the amber. Oh, there is no amber. Huh. There you go.
And that's kind of the luminosity. It's kind of hard to see on camera with bright light, but it's there. And I'm doing this at 9 volt, by the way, not the full 12. Something I'm going to have to keep in mind just prior to actually putting this in is when pretty much because this is going in last, as basically on how the whole ship is built is when I'm going to actually decide, am I going to go 9 or 12? Basically because I don't want too much, basically because of this, I don't want too much, bright wash so it illuminates under the whole saucer in blue, but I want it bright enough to see, and also depending on how the other liner looks, if I need to go to 12. Let's just say if I need to go to 12 or even 9, whatever, and this is still too bright, like especially on the blue line, I may throw a resistor on it, just a very low ohm, just to dull it down, just to shorten up a little bit. But before that, I'll want to do a little more diffuse in there. But that's where we stand on this. So I'm going to end this video here. And the next video, start working on the creation of the warp nacelles. So that's going to be a fun one. I've been kind of looking forward to that. All right. So with that, just take care. Watch all my other stuff. Subscribe, please. I want to get enough subscribers so YouTube will finally pay me to go buy some Mexican food. I love carne asada burritos.